blocking.
Ladies and gentlemen, come on, let's bring Madam Chair, if I may. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, this is ridiculous. We're here for a community board meeting. If we have difference of opinions, take it outside, do it in a different form. This is a community board. This is a community board. This is a community board, and we have the right to sit here and we have the right to. Why should we? Why should we? It's supposed to be nothing. It's supposed to be nothing.
You need to stop this guy.
I have to stop what? I should be embarrassed that you got an elected official that creates affordable housing for people who don't live here. I should be embarrassed. She should be embarrassed. She should be embarrassed to come into this community and create apartments for people who make $100,000 and call that a miracle deal for us. She should be embarrassed. That's what should be embarrassed.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Absolutely. This is your district.
Yes, and this is my community too, and I have a right to say what I want to say.
But you do not have the right to disturb meetings.
Oh, please. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Against me? Against me? Against me? Against me?
I missed you.
Against me?
How you doing?
Hi.
If we're gonna keep disrupting the
I'm not
media,
disrupting. He's
okay.
talking to me. I'm
All right,
talking back.
Right, but if you're going,
well, if he's gonna talk, I'm gonna talk back. I have the right to talk back.
And you're absolutely right.
That's right. So that's what I'm doing. I'm engaging in my rights.
But it's how we talk back.
Well, it's how we talk back.
It's how we talk back.
You're in my camera.
Right now,
you're
they're
in my
asking
camera.
me to remove you out of the auditorium.
You will be breaking the law if you do.
No, I would not be.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would, because I have not done anything.
Not on Medgar Evers College. No, I
Oh,
wouldn't.
yes, I would. This is a community board meeting.
Okay, and
the open meeting law is. Excuse me, you're in my way. Excuse me. I have the right to videotape this. You are engaged. You are preventing me.
No, I'm not. You're being asked to leave outside the auditorium.
I'm not leaving. I'm not going to leave.
And if you are a true leader,
either way you see it.
No, you do not have the right. You do not have the right to stop me from videotaping. No, you do not have the right to stop me from videotaping. No, you do not.
Yes, I do, man.
The open meeting law allows me to videotape. You do not have the right to stop me from videotaping.
Not when you're disturbing.
I'm not disturbing anybody.
You are disturbing this meeting.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You're still going to have to.
I'm still videotaping.
Not a problem.
I have the right to videotape. Please watch them as they try to prevent me from videotaping. I have the right to videotape.
You're going to have to leave.
I have the right to videotape. I have the right to videotape. I have the right to videotape. I have the right to videotape.
But you are being disruptive.
I have the right to videotape. I'm not being disruptive. I have the right to videotape. 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 You do not have the right to stop me from videotaping, sir. You do not have the right to stop me from video. You do not have the right to stop me from videotaping. It is the law. I have the right to videotape. I'm not disrupting anything. As far as I know, the meeting is still going on. As far as I know, the meeting is still going on. If you state so. I don't know how I'm being disruptive if I'm videotaping.
There are ways to handle things.
And I am videotaping. I have every right to videotape.
Right.
I have every right to videotape.
As long as you're in the peaceful mode, yes, you can. But once
Thank
you become
you.
unpeaceful,
yeah, well, I don't know what unpeaceful means personally.
Well, right now you're being peaceful.
Right. Oh, this is what I was doing when you came in.
No, you wasn't.
Right, because he was talking to me and I was talking back. That's right. If he's going to engage in a conversation with me, I have the right to engage back.
He was yelling and
screaming.
screaming.
And he was yelling and screaming at me. Oh, yes, he was. And I have it on videotape. Oh, yes, he was. He was talking to me. Oh, yes, he was. You go back and look at the videotape. That's right. Yes, he was, because he had a mic. He had a mic. And I responded back.
All right, well, let's keep the noise. Let's keep your voice down, man.
Okay, whatever you say. I have every right to sit there and videotape.
As long as you keep your voice down.
I have every right. I have every right to videotape. You don't have the right to tell me that I cannot sit there and raise my voice.
Yes, I can.
No, you do not.
Yes, I can.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
I know you for a long time.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't like this. I come and take this meeting. I didn't have to come here this evening.
I know. It's just, you know, we're really, you know.
I'm not lying. It's the truth. I am not lying. I have fibromyalgia, okay? I'm supposed to be in a home, in my apartment. And I said, let me just come to hear what's going on with this meeting. And you know you took my, don't take my picture. I ain't need that. I ain't on no camera. I'm serious, man. I know you for a long time and I used to talk and things and I understand where you're coming from. I give you issues. You took my issues and you know some of them was right. But now it's time to say, you know what? Stop it. Stop it. Learn to just keep it quiet. Don't. I mean it, Felicia. I ain't gonna lie to you. I take my time. I said I'm gonna come here because I want to hear what they're talking about this armor.
And we talked about, and they talked about the armor.
Yeah, but I still don't expect.
Yes, because I can't stand it when I have the right to sit there. I have the right to sit there and go into a meeting. And if I hear people lying, I have the right to sit there and say something. And if somebody is talking to me, I have the right to respond back. Now, the last time I knew, he was on that mic talking to me, and that's what I was doing. When these officers showed up and saw me having a conversation with him. But now I'm the bad person because I guess I didn't have the mic. I didn't have the mic.
Nobody's saying you're bad person.
I didn't have. But I have to.
I speak my mind too, you know.
Thank you.
Trust me. But there's a time and place. There's a time and place for Felicia. Come on. But you have to do it all the time. I come to times you have to say, you know.
And I do when I go to court.
But not all the time. Come on, Felicia. You're too long, man. Come on. You and I talk. We talk. I come to meetings when you had them and everything.
I just can't. Your elected officials come here and they lie to you. They sell you out, and you don't do anything but clap for them. It's a shame. She's sitting there selling us out. She's going to cause thousands of people to be removed in this place. She's going to cause children to be removed in this place, and all we do is sit here and clap for her. This is her doing.
You know what?
She's destroying this community, and she's going to cause a wave of displacement. And nobody seems to think that that's everybody because of all these little
All right, so now,
people
and you
who
know
are.
what? And I'm agreeing with you on that because I asked myself the same question: how is it that they're gonna sit there and they're gonna do the army do what it? Because remember, the army belonged to Medgar Evers.
That's right.
And we know that, and we know that whatever Laurie Cumbo's part was in it, that it had something to do with them getting it. Matter of fact, it was a done deal. It was going to happen, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So now what? They want to bring it back up again? And I understand your plight, and I'm not here to deter you from what it is you do. Please forgive me, sister. Please understand that. But at the end of the day, voice your opinion. Voice your opinion, but there's a time, but there's a way to do. All I said was there's a way. I didn't say don't do. I said there's a way to do things.
There's all kinds of ways in which we engage in public.
You can get mad. You can get angry. But then there's a time to get angry. There's a time to pull yourself back. Because why? You're letting them know that you're still in full control of yourself. Even when you
I am always in full control of myself.
Wait a minute, what I just said. Even though, but I just said, even though you will voice your opinion, you are in full control.
You know that, but at the same time, you've got to sometimes, you know what? Like, zip it. I remember I was working, and there was something that happened, and there was a nurse. When she was talking, and she said to me,
but she will be covering
it might not easy with some of these nurses on the floor here where you're cleaning and things like that. And she said to me, Lucy, just zip it.
Community Board 9 and a
Zip
couple
it.
other
Time sometimes you have to zip it.
I'm not even gonna say zip it. No, that's
sometimes you have to.
No, that's
No,
not.
sometimes you have to, especially right now they have the meeting. Zip it now. Then later on when things
Voice your
then
opinion.
you could have voiced your opinion.
That's not
But
her,
let them
and I
finish doing
understand
their
that.
meeting.
This is a community board meeting.
We
A
know that,
person
but
should
let
have
them
the
do
right
it.
to sit there and
But
voice their
let
opinion no
them
matter
do
what
their
it is.
meeting. Let them do their meeting.
We have let them do their
Yes,
meeting.
all what they're saying, and when you hear all what they have said and they finish, then you can open up and say something. Because you know why? You did not interrupt while they was talking. You wait till everything.
Matter of fact,
you gotta be smart.
I would prefer you take them outside and chew them out there in that lobby all day long.
Oh, please.
I'm just saying.
I'm not following Laurie.
When they're finished with their meetings and everything is finished,
then you're gonna holler.
So that's a
Because
very
you know
good
why?
question.
You have heard everything.
All our
You put that
complaints
in your
as
head,
well as
and you know
most
now
of
how
our
to
filing
respond now
information
in
is
there.
very
Let them get everything
transparent. It's
out.
all
Let
on our
them
website.
get
You're
everything
really
out.
smart, sweetie.
So now they
You
can't
ain't
switch
doing
it. So now they
that.
can't switch
You
it.
doing that,
Plug
sweetie.
in,
You just don't look like you ain't thinking.
any
Let them do all the
building address,
talking.
and you can look up all the complaints are there with all the
Listen.
dispositions and whatever
They
the
need
current
to
status
stop.
is. So
Because you
if a
say, well, you know, I
complaint
heard
was-
this and I heard that. I'm following up by what I heard.
If a complaint was addressed already,
And you know
will
what,
see
sis?
the
And I'm
disposition
sorry
of
that I
it in
interviewed your
the
video, but
BIS
yes, please
system.
continue.
In
But I'm
terms
sorry
of,
yes, I know.
inspector,
But I
all inspectors
apologize
now,
for interrupting
the
you.
last number of years,
Because you're not
wear
allowed to.
uniforms.
I'm entitled to
And
sit
so,
on video.
Then I just apologize. I just
Okay, you apologize.
It's really
just apologize.
important
You
to
went
have
following. That's why I had
badges
to come
on
and
the
tell
side
you.
that say New York City Department of Buildings. They all have badges. And they certainly would all carry ID.
I didn't know you understood.
You know,
I know
if that was a
that
question,
about
they
the
could
verse.
certainly
Like my- I got
ask
about
them
like
for
that. Trust
identification
me.
as well.
I'm a political
But
activist.
every
Take all that, put it on
inspector
camera,
now,
and blow it up on
wears
social media.
a
That
full
shit gotta be
uniform.
your
So
I got a
you
mouth
would
like
pretty
hers,
much,
trust me.
pretty
That's why
much,
I come and tell you.
identify them. And most of
You know where
the
you're coming
Department of
from.
Buildings
When it comes to
vehicles
time, you have to-
are, they usually like black
Like you
Priuses
said,
that
let them
say
get all
Department
out
of
what they have
Buildings
to
on
say.
them.
What I
Then you
said,
tell
and
them.
then
You know, you
give
pretty
it.
much, you know,
Sweetie. Give it to
to
them.
get a disposition
Yeah.
on any
Let them get it all
complaint,
out
you
first.
just go into the
Walk
BIS
in,
system and
take
you
the
can see
time and
whether
listen
it
to
had
them.
been
You're there.
inspected.
You're doing. You be very diplomatic.
I am diplomatic. You'd be surprised.
Sure. Yeah, you could certainly call us. You could call the community board. You could call the elected office. You could call us directly.
Get the fiery in you.
I get the little fire. I
certainly
got fire in me,
can
but I'm
answer
diplomatic
pretty
too.
easily. But like I said, I mean, the information is very transparent. Even in a library, you know, they have
I gotta
access to
tap
computers
you
a
a
lot
little
of
bit,
times and
child.
things like
It's
that.
like I gotta
But
take
yeah,
a
they, of
spike
course,
your
you
little
can always call them,
child.
and they can look it up as well.
I gotta spike this over you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sis.
I'm gonna put my camera back.
Right, so that's a very good question. So the question, if anyone didn't hear it, was how can you take, for example, a spot or a location that was one family home, demolish it, and now put up, say, like a 6-story building? How does that happen? Okay, so the way that happens is zoning determines what's permitted in any particular area throughout the city.
Who is
Now,
this guy?
unless zoning was changed, like down zone, sometimes up zone, whatever the zoning is at that point, it's called as of right. So you could build to whatever would be permitted under the zoning codes, the zoning resolution, and the building codes. So if a particular spot allows, say you have enough space to put up a 6-story building where there used to be a 1-story building, as of right, you're able to generally build that. There are some, you know, caveats and provisions and things like that, but generally speaking, that's what's, you know, permitted there. Yes, sir?
How can the tenants, after we call 311, speed up the response of the building department inspectors? Because what happens, I don't know about any place else, but in my place, let's say we call up on Friday and the elevator's not working. By the time the inspector comes, I'm assuming that the landlord has been notified. By the time the inspector gets there, it's fixed. So in the meantime, we do without the elevator service for the entire weekend, and when the building inspector arrives on Monday, miracles, the elevator is not working. So how do we shorten the time between when we complain and when we get your inspection?
Right, that's a very good question. So first of all, with all our complaint categories, are all already have prioritized timelines, if that's a way of saying it. In other words, it's already, like if you call in for a particular thing, certainly you can imagine things like a facade issue or something falling or an accident, God forbid, or things like that. That's always, of course, the highest priority. And then there are, you know, priorities fall into place after that. Now, with elevators in particular, and believe me, I do understand there are plenty of buildings, particularly in Brooklyn, where you have one elevator still, right? The newer codes, I think, provide for more elevators you know, in a lot of buildings, but the older buildings, you have a lot of these 6-story buildings that have one elevator. If that elevator is down, right, people, especially elderly and everybody else, is trapped. So, you know, we do work, besides a priority system, a lot of times, especially if calls come into our office or through the community board, an elected official, you know, our elevator division is very responsive. That said, at the end of the day, like you pointed out, we don't repair anything. So it's always going to be up to the landlord to hire, you know, the appropriate elevator, you know, repair company. Most people have contracts with, you know, with these companies that work, you know, even on weekends and everything else. Sometimes it's a minor fix. Sometimes it's, of course, you know, a major fix, depending on the situation. But, you know, certainly, like you pointed out, you want to contact your landlord as well. You definitely want to put it into the 301 system, so we'll follow up. But at the end of the day, again, you know, the key thing is to have the landlord, you know, have the elevator repaired. That said, but, you know, again, we do try to get out there as expeditiously as possible, and certainly, you know, if I personally find out situations that, you know, there's elderly people, disabled people, other people that, you know, really will not be able to get out of the building, we try our best to get out there. But again, even when we do get out there, you know, the most that we're going to do many times is issue a violation, but the elevator still needs to get repaired. So, but, you know, again, we do try to get out there as quick as we can. Yes, sir.
How does the Department of Buildings, what's their oversight of their position on landlords affecting repairs in buildings that have violations, but the Department of Buildings still issuing permits to those landlords to make repairs that are not related to the actual violation? In other words, why are landlords still allowed to get permits to make repairs in buildings where they haven't remedied the violations that's been
Right, so, what's that? Right, no, that's a very good question. So the first thing is, just to take it from this perspective, the first thing is you definitely want people filing to make repairs, you know, because that's what you want, ultimately, right? You want them to fix things. That said, there is a new law, I think it's a city council law, if I'm not mistaken.
What is
if
that?
you have
What is that?
over, I think it's $25,000 in
How's
fines.
that going?
I think you can't get your permit until you pay the fine. The same thing, there are sometimes people have what are called civil penalties that are associated, not just like ECD or oath type fines, that if they do, say, work without a permit, and then they want to go pull a permit, they have to pay that civil penalty. It could be like $6,000, particularly for a building. They have to pay that before they get a permit. So there are things in place which do cause compliance in terms of violations, but that said, at the same time, when it is permitted, you know, of course, you do want people, if they're coming to get permits, to do, you want to call it the right thing, they're, you know, that they want to repair whatever, you know, the situation is. You know, of course, we want them to get permits to do it the proper way, rather than just, you know, say fixing something that needs a permit without getting a permit.
And how do they get permits issued for new renovations? For instance, I know buildings in the community where stop work orders were placed on buildings with one apartment unit not being repaired properly, but the landlord would issue a permit to make a renovation to another apartment that had nothing to do with that work order. So how is the Department of Buildings justifying allowing for permitting to happen to make for new repairs to or modifications to apartments? Let's say when an apartment becomes vacant, for instance, versus making the repairs that are under violation.
Right, so I mean, each situation is sort of separate. Like, if you have a stop work order for, say, full for the entire building, then, you know, you would not be allowed to do any work until you corrected that stop work order. You may have partial stop work orders that only relate to certain types of work, or maybe like you were saying, say for this apartment, but not necessarily, that may not preclude them from doing work in another apartment. It may be limited to that. So it all kind of depends. You know, especially like in new construction, like say for a new building, say, you know, God forbid, it was an accident or something happened, you know, they get a full stop work order for the entire building. Like they couldn't continue that job at all until they came back and remedied whatever led to the stop work order. But, you know, in an existing building, it is possible that you may have a stop work order for like certain types of work, or maybe a certain apartment, but they may be permitted to get, to do work in another apartment. Yes, sir.
On President Street between Bedford and Franklin, that's a house that's being renovated, and it was a stop order. And because they had no netting, when we know that all these houses have asbestos, they were built in the 1920s, if not before. And now there was a partial stop work order. I was coming out, I was sitting on my porch, and I saw all this smoke, and I live, all this dust, and I live about 7 houses away, coming to my side. So I went over and I found out that I started working on it. I said, where's the netting? Because the stop order says there should be a netting. And there was none. I called the Department of Labor, I reported it to CP9, and I spoke to one of the general counsel, and there's still no netting. And there's a house directly next to it, that a senior lives in this house, and the dust is going straight into the house. My question is, when does an inspector come back to check that house to make sure that they are following that stop order or the partial stop order?
Right, so if you have a stop work order, and that, you know, I talked about the priority system. Stop work order, if there's an allegation someone's violating a stop work order, that's the highest priority. I mean, you know, it's up there at the top. And we would come out there and investigate, you know, that same day to see, you know, what's going on, whether they're violating or not. That said, you know, there are times when you have a partial, like you mentioned. In other words, like they're allowed to do certain other types of work. Sometimes it could be like almost like a full stop work order, but they're allowed to do some remedial work, say something didn't go right and there was an excavation issue. We may allow them to like backfill, like put the dirt back and things like that. With the netting's not really, it's to contain, you know, debris and things like that, but not necessarily smoke. You shouldn't have like plumes of smoke coming out. That's something that they have to control. Usually that's dust related to, most of the time, saying to either the dirt, or if they're, you know, sometimes, you know, people even power washing buildings and things like that. And that's not even something that, you know, necessarily need a permit, but you know, something like that you certainly could call, and we can investigate. But usually smoke and dust like that is because it's not wetted down properly. That's what they're supposed to be doing. It's not really so much, the netting's not really going to contain smoke. Maybe, you know, some, you know, fine particles, debris, and things like that. Yes?
If we're pulling up an adverse bill online, and we're seeing violations that go, it looks like they paid, but we can't be sure. How can we tell if they paid or if it's just credited on?
You talking about like for a violation?
For a violation.
Right. So, I mean, we don't handle the part about paying the actual violation unless it's something like I was talking about before, a civil penalty gets paid directly to Department of Buildings. But any violation like they call it ECV or oath, you know, they call it now violations, those get paid to oath directly. But you can see it on our website. So, for example, we have, besides the complaints, we also have right on, you know, the homepage of our building information system screen, you'll see all the list of violations or ECV violations that are on there, and you'll see whether or not they paid or not. You can see that, and you can even see sometimes ECV comes up with like a payment plan for people, and you can see they paid, you know, $490 out of the $600 fine. So you can see all that clearly. You just have to click on the particular violation.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
One more question after this, and then we have to close it out. Thank you.
What is the city of responsibility doing for partners and families in the window bars and being proactive and making sure that those are complying with window bars that way save lives and some?
First of all, that's an excellent question. I believe that's under Department of Health. I'm not sure, is it? They may be a Department of Health and maybe even HPD. They may have some role in that. I don't think it's under DOB, you know, per se. One thing though, since you brought that up, just very quickly, in a lot of apartments now, of course now, you know, it's the cooling season, right? We're getting up to that very soon. So if you put in air conditioning units in your windows, we always recommend that you follow whatever the manufacturer's recommendation is. In other words, Don't be like propping up bricks in there and wood and other things that easily can fall out, because certainly that can hurt someone. You want to use brackets or whatever. You know, you look up for your particular air conditioner. If it's brand new, it'll have all the information there. If not, you can look it up. It'll tell you what's recommended. Take this lady.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you. And anytime that you need to contact the Department of Buildings, you can always call the board office and we'll give you that information. And they're always very helpful. We have another presenter. Is the Northeast Development Corp here? Is anyone? Apparently not. The Northeast Development Corp came to the Housing Committee and also the EDC Committee. And why they came is because they are building houses, which is called the Van Dyke Houses, over in East New York, and it borders on Community Board 9, but it's more in 16, Community Board 16. But what they wanted to do was make this part of the community know that they will be building these houses, affordable housing. But also there's a job component that goes along with that. They're in the process now, we're doing free OSHA training. And also, once they complete, whoever take advantage of this training, and once they complete that training, the construction company that they work with, they will send those folks for job interviews, and they can get hired if they pass the interview. So that was the reason why we wanted them to come too, because this is one of those rare instances where they're providing jobs right along with the construction. So perhaps maybe next month and next time. So we're moving forward on to our next agenda item, the application to the New York State Liquor Authority, filed by the following businesses within Community Board 9. The application was submitted by Funtime Lounge. This is at 1148 Nostrand Avenue. They're applying for a new liquor wine beer and cider license. And another application submitted by Cadell Court, 1184 Nostrand Avenue. But I'll call the chair of our Public Safety Committee, Rashida Sadiq. And she will tell you a little more about these applications.
Good evening, everyone. So the first applicant is Funtime Lounge LLC, and it's for a new liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. Is James here tonight?
Good evening.
So okay, you're representing. It's already, okay. Okay. You can come up. So this Funtime Lounge was previously approved for a wine, beer, and cider license. And we did approve them. However, they're no longer pursuing that application and have submitted a new full application for a new liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. So if the representative can come up and speak to the board.
Thank you very much. Community members, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Tommy Zgoris. I represent Funtime Lounge LLC, who is applying for a full on-premises liquor, beer, wine, and cider license. With me here is Mr. James Fields, who is the president of Funtime Lounge. So Funtime Lounge essentially offers a unique experience to people. It offers a creative and artistic experience. It offers painting lessons. Is that correct? Part of my client's expansion, he's seeking to offer food and alcoholic beverages as well to enhance the experience, to remain competitive in the neighborhood. And, as such, I believe there was a concern about why we wanted to change the application, the initial application for just beer and wine. Again, my client wants to offer a full range of options for the clientele. Excuse me. full range of options for their clientele, again, to enhance the experience, to stay competitive. That includes giving people the option to try new food, different cocktails, is that right? And certainly, but this is the concept you were going with, right? Would you like, can I hand over the mic then?
Let the black man speak.
Good evening, everyone. Just to expound on Tommy's presentation, one of the reasons for looking to seek a full liquor license is that through my brief experience so far in the business, I've noticed that our clientele is wanting other choices other than wine. They want a variety of different alcoholic beverages, and it allows us to meet a wider demographic. Wine is kind of tailored toward a specific clientele, and being able to offer a full liquor license will open it up, and we can reach a broader market. So that's one of the main reasons for requesting a full liquor license.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions, and we came before the full committee, and we had quorum. One of our concerns was the time that you're going to be having, that you requested, and it was requested until 1 a.m. We had discussion, and Bess thought it would probably better to amend your application and have it end at 12, just because you can explain to them that your, because the sip and paints, they typically end around 9 o'clock every evening? Okay, so that was one of the recommendations of the committee, was to not have it through 1 a.m., but to have it until midnight, because that gives the clientele enough time to still have the event and then afterwards leave. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next applicant is Kuda Model Corp. Is anyone here from? Yes, you can come up. And they also gave a presentation at the last meeting. However, we didn't have quorum, so we're just going to give a brief synopsis again and an update. Yes.
So just a quick amendment to what it says on the, sorry, good evening everyone from the community. Just a quick amendment to what it says on the schedule. We are actually not looking for a full liquor license. We're only looking for beer, wine, and cider. The application does not include liquor. We don't serve liquor at our first location, which is in Fort Greene, and we don't really have a desire to serve liquor to avoid, obvious issues that come with having full liquor and being a beer garden. We focus mostly on beer. There will be food available. It is a German-style beer garden, so it is mostly German food. I'm one of two owners. Both of us are German and have German background. I do want to do an extended menu because I come clearly from a mixed background, to involve Colombian and Caribbean foods, which is the other part of my background.